Hello YouTube, this is Crosscheck and welcome to a short video about aircraft lights, when to use them and why to use them. So let's begin. We are at Los Angeles Airport. First thing I'm gonna go to view and use my aviation flashlight. With this I can now go and turn on the battery. Standby power, and let's use the available ground power. This is the default 737. This is where I'm gonna do the little explanation. Okay, let's just. Okay, we don't need generators, obviously. Okay, that should be okay anyway. Okay. Let's turn the background lights over here. That's a little bit of the ABS flood and a little flood over here. Okay. And if we wanted the dome, it's right here. We can put the dim dome. Okay, there we go. Now we can get rid of the aviation flashlight. Okay, so currently all exterior lights are off in our aircraft. Let's jump into the cockpit. The first thing, once you have electricity, the first lights, the exterior lights you want to turn on are the position lights. Now in this 737, the same switch is for the navigation lights and the strobe. If you turn this one up, you have strobe and steady. And if you turn it down, only the steady, and the steady are the position lights. So let's turn that down. Now, as you can see, we have the red. The green on the right wing and the left and red. Now, as you can see, we have the green lights on the right wing and the red lights on the left wing. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We have back here. We have another lights. Pretty much in the ground, but yeah, that's about it. So those stay on until the electrical power goes off. Now during night, I always turn this ones on, but during night that's when they are useful. For example, the wheel well. This is so you can inspect the wheels. The wing lights. That is so you can check the wings for icing. As you can see, this light right here is a wing light, and it lights up the wings, and you can inspect them. And also during flight, you could also, I believe it is possible from the cockpit to kind of see how the wings are doing on icing. I think. I'm not completely sure. The wheel well is not quite visible because this card over here is lighting the wheels, but it basically lights the wheel, right? So those are the wheel well and the wing lights, and that's what they are for. And now you also use the logo. The logo is basically used for all ground operations during night, and as you can see, it's these lights right here, and they illuminate the logo. Pretty cool, huh? But yeah, that's basically all used in ground, not really required once you are in the air. So the logo, the wing, and the wheel well, not really required on air. It's only during nighttime and while in ground. Now, those are basically it. Now, once you are going to start the engines, you need to turn the anti-collision light on. This one is this red strobe. And this one, it tells everybody around the aircraft that the engines are about to run or that they are running. So it indicates to be careful around the aircraft. These lights will not, the anti-collision lights will not go off until you turn off the engines. So you turn them on once you're going to start your engines, and you will be turning them off. I'm gonna just start the APU so I can start my engines. So the anti-collision lights go on. So the anti-collision lights go on right before starting engines, and they will go off until after you stop the engines. So I'm just gonna turn on the engines. Okay, so right now, as you can see, we have our wheel well lights, our wing lights, our navigation lights, our logo lights, our beacon, and that's about it. That's all we required until pushback. Let's ask for pushback now. I think this will be... Okay, so for some reason he decided that this was a good spot to leave me. So here I am now. At this moment you would start the taxi, and now that means you can turn the taxi lights on. You have dim or bright. Let's go for bright right now. And the taxi light is on the main wheel, the front wheel, and it lights right up ahead. And actually, if you turn your wheel, the light will turn with the wheel. So yeah, you have that going on for you. Usually they will also use the runway turn-off lights. Those are these 45-degree angled lights, and they help you on the turns. They help the pilot on the turns, the visibility on the turns. So basically this is the configuration you want for taxi. Maybe actually the wings, well, the wing lights can be used for more visibility, or also to signal all the other aircraft is if necessary. So but yeah, you can probably taxi like this. Probably the best way to taxi would be to take the wing lights off, and the wheel well is not required anymore because we're not going to be inspecting any of this for the time being. So this is how you would be taxiing. Now let's go over the strobe. The strobe will be used whenever you enter a runway. It can be for crossing a runway or when you are going to be lining up with the runway. So once you're going to enter a runway, you turn, position, strobe, and steady. When you leave a runway via ground, you go to steady. If you leave a runway into the air, the strobe remains on until you land and you vacate the runway. Okay? And this is how how that looks. But for the time being, we're not entering a runway, so we don't need the strobe and steady. Okay, so a little recap. We are about taxi. We have our taxi lights, our runway turn-off lights. We have our anti-collision. We have our position in steady, and we have our logo. Let's now taxi to a runway. Okay, so right in front of us we have a runway. Now, before entering the runway, we will turn our strobe lights on. Now we can continue and line up on the runway. Now that we are lined up with the runway, there we go. Now lined up with the runway, we can turn our landing lights on, and we can turn our taxi lights off. So this is the way we're gonna be taking off. Landing lights are on. Actually, the runway turn off can go off now. Landing lights are on. Runway turn off, taxi off. Logo is on. Position strobe and steady. Anti-collision lights on. Wing and wheel well are off. And this is the way we can take off. Now, after takeoff, we can ignore the lights until going through 10,000 feet. Once we are over 10,000 feet, we can turn off our landing lights. We can turn off our logo. And we can turn off. No, that's it. The anti-collision light stays, the position strobe and steady stays. So above 10,000 feet, the only lights that will remain on are the position strobe and steady and the anti-collision lights. Now coming back home, once you go below 10,000 feet for landing, your landing lights come on once again. I think actually the runway turn off lights come up again. You can turn your logo light on, and yeah, you are ready for landing. Now let's say we just landed, and now we are vacating the runway. As soon as we vacate the runway, landing lights should be off, taxi on, and the strobe should be off. Now the navigation light should be on steady. And now we can continue this way, the taxi to the gate. Now once we reach the gate, there we go. Once we reach the gate, the runway turn-off lights can go off, the taxi light can go off, the logo can stay on, or you can take it off if you want. I'll just leave it on. I turn the wing lights and the wheel well just for ground inspection, and yeah, that's it. Once we are in the ramp. Now, if we turn our engines off, let's say we turn our engines off. Now that they are off, we can turn the anti-collision light off. Everything remains the same. And if we're gonna turn off the aircraft, we can turn all the lights off. Off and off. And there we go. And that's basically how you use the lights, and that's what they are used for. I hope I didn't do many mistakes, and I hope you find it useful. Anyway, that's it for the video. Cross check out.